Hey there, welcome to Story Time with Stacey. I'm Stacey, and I am just having so much fun blowing bubbles. My mom's in the other room. Don't tell her I'm blowing bubbles in the house, okay? Shh. This is something I probably shouldn't be doing inside, but it just goes along with the story today, and I just had to do it. One more blow. Here I go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Gotta put the cap back on here, otherwise bubbles could just spill all over the place and then I'd really be in trouble. But the story we're reading today, now my hands are all full of bubble solution. It's all good. It's all good. But the story we're reading today, it's called Adventures of Bubble Girl. Check that out. So if you want to go ahead and get settled, we'll get started. So are you ready to read? Me too, let's do it. Adventures of Bubble Girl. Written by Brian Brodber, illustrated by Nguyen the Ngoc. It's a sunny Monday morning. The streets that were once crowded with people are now empty. Bella was kneeling in front of her bedroom window. She was looking out at the quiet street. She missed greeting her neighbors. She would greet them on her way to school. Bella suddenly sees Mr. Brown outside. He seems sad and unhappy. Mr. Brown is one of Bella's neighbors. Every day he goes out of his house to get his mail. He quickly hobbles to and from his mailbox, walking stick in hand, never looking up. Bella rushes out to greet Mr. Brown. "Hello, Mr. Brown," she yells excitedly from across the road. "Hello, Bella," he replied in a sad voice. Then he quickly walked back to his house. Bella does not like to see Mr. Brown so sad. She tries to think of ways to bring a smile back to Mr. Brown's face. Bubbles, Bella thought. I love bubbles. And so will he. The next day, Mr. Brown goes to get his mail. Bella was standing across the street. She had her homemade bubble mix and her bubble wand. She blew many bubbles for Mr. Brown to see. Her tiny bubbles floated across the street, but they popped before Mr. Brown saw them. The next day, Bella took out her large bubble ring. "They are sure to make it over to Mr. Brown," Bella said to herself as the bubbles floated in the air. The colorful bubbles floated across the street, but popped close to Mr. Brown's walking stick. He looked slightly at the bubbles, then turned and went back into his house. "I need more bubbles," Bella thought to herself. Bella wanted to fill the whole neighborhood with bubbles. She wanted to create a spectacular bubble show for Mr. Brown. Bella remembered the pink bubble blaster she got on her birthday, days before the lockdown began. This machine could make hundreds of bubbles in minutes. The next day, Bella turned on her bubble blaster. It filled the air with hundreds of bubbles of all sizes. The bubbles were big and small. The bubbles floated over the top of houses. They glowed in many different colors. Some were red, orange, yellow, blue, and violet. It looked like a rainbow bubble parade. When Mr. Brown comes out to get his mail, he was surprised. He stopped to admire the beautiful bubbles. They were floating around him like fireflies. The bubbles made him so happy. For the first time, He smiled from ear to ear. Now every morning, when Mr. Brown goes out to get his mail, Bella would fill the air with her bubbles. Seeing Mr. Brown's joy, Bella wanted to share that joy with all her neighbors. Every day since Bella turned on her bubble blaster and filled the neighborhood with bubbles, she became known as the Bubble Girl.
The end. Wasn't it just a great idea to blow bubbles to brighten everybody's day? I mean, everybody was so sad because of the lockdown from COVID that just something so small and simple would just make them so happy. I really like the message in this book. And I also really love, I don't know if you love the color, but in the description below, I got a link on where you can learn more about the author and where you can get your own copy of this book, because there's coloring pages. Look at that! I mean, a story time book and a coloring book all in one. It doesn't get better than that for me, I don't think. Just look at that. Oh, these are such great pictures to color. And that is not the project that I'm going to have you do, but definitely grab a copy of this book so you can color in it. Who doesn't want to color in a book? But you can do your own bubble art. Look at that up there. That was done by bubbles. Oh, so cool. But I got a link below as well where you can grab a copy of this and you can make your own bubble art. So neat, so neat. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Whether this is your first time here, whether you have been here many times before, I love how our community is growing and we are all reading together. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do by hitting that subscribe button. And also make sure to hit the notification bell so you know when my next story time is going to be, okay? Okay, well, I'm going to go and don't tell anybody, I'm going to blow some more bubbles. And I'm going to leave you at that. So enjoy the rest of your day and keep on reading. Bye!